I would like to thank NEAR for giving me this opportunity to induct Mario Fats Caruso into the NEAR Hall of Fame. 40 years ago, some of my high school motorhead friends said to me, "Hey Bruce, you really got to go over to the Norwood Arena to see these stock cars." I said, okay. They would tell me about epic battles on the racetrack between the V8, the dollar sign, the J2, and the 69. On that first important trip to the Norwood Arena, Fats Caruso came from deep in the field to win the 25-lap modified feature, driving the Worcester Sand and Gravel number 69. From that moment on, a fat little red-headed kid from Brookline was hooked. And I've been still at it. In the 1940s, Fats Caruso started his racing career driving B-modifieds, bombers, whatever you want to call them. After a few years, he moved on to the modifieds and the cutdowns. Victories came at such venues as Lonsdale, Rhode Island, Groveland, Mass., Hudson, New Hampshire, Seekonk, Westboro, and the Norwood Arena. His career really started to take off. In one remarkable season at Westboro, Fats Caruso won 22 of 28 features won. Another year driving the number 79 six-cylinder bomber for Dave Welch and the late Greg Baby Huey Mills out of Needham, Mass., Fats won close to 40 features. That is incredible. The late Greg Mills used to tell me when Fats got in the car, you always had a payday. He also used to tell me that they ran for Charlie Elliott, one of today's inductees, up to Dover, and a B feature with a six-cylinder modified would pay $500–600. This was in the late 50s. Not bad going. Fats also won a NERA Super Modified, then called Cut-Down Championships, driving the famed Circle 2 racer. By the late 50s, Fats had established himself as one of New England's premier racers. Dubbed the Shrewsbury Flash by announcer Joe Ross, Fats Caruso was well worth the price of admission. The telltale sign of a smoking right rear M&H tire on the Worcester Sand number 69 meant that the always aggressive Caruso was on his way to the front. Feature wins were frequent. Around 1963, Caruso and the Worcester Sand and Gravel troupe began to travel a bit away from New England. As one who was there on a hot August afternoon, Fats Caruso's spectacular win over a rapidly closing Ray Hendrick, we all remember him, in the Trenton 200 was a race for the ages. Fats Caruso had arrived. After Fats' win at Trenton on that memorable day in 1963, the Frontier Club on South Broad Street in Trenton has never been the same. Other victories on the road came at Old Bridge, New Jersey, Utica, and Malta, New York. Mario Fats Caruso was a top runner and always considered a threat to win. Fats Caruso, make no doubt about it, was like Homer Drew, one tough customer. One night at an open competition show at Westboro in the early 60s, Fats totally demolished the number 69 cutdown. Undaunted, the crew returned to their Worcester garage, loaded up the modified, returned to Westboro, where Fats promptly went out and won the feature event. In June of 1968, Fats was involved in a horrific crash at the Thompson, Connecticut Speedway. For 4 days in a row, he was given the last rites of the Catholic Church. Recovering from these injuries, Fats Caruso was once again a contending racer through the 70s and into the 1980s. As his career wound down, Fats drove the family modified at Stafford and Thompson. His final career modified win was a real good one. Victory in the 1984 Thompson 300, driving for Billy Ross out of Warwick, Rhode Island. Fats retired after the 1984 season, but would come back for an annual outing in 1988, 89, and 91 at the World Series at Thompson to race in a pro stock against his son David. After a battle with cancer, Mario Caruso passed away in 1993. 3 years later, his son David also succumbed to a heart attack. In a career that was all too brief, David Caruso won 35 features and 3 track championships. Interestingly enough, Fats Caruso and his son David are 2 on the list of outstanding drivers who drove the famed 2X of Bobby Judkins. The Caruso family tradition continues as Jeff Caruso, the son of Michael Caruso, who is Fatz's oldest son, continues to compete in a pro stock at Thompson. I think the racing world, who admired, respected, and loved Fats Caruso, can pay him its highest compliment today. Fats Caruso was and always will be called a racer. I'd like to have Mike Caruso and the family come up to accept the award.
I want to thank Bruce. He did an excellent tribute to my father, and I'm sure he's listening, because he was never known to miss a party. I was very fortunate, being the oldest in the family, to see my father's era, where he peaked out in the early 60s and stuff. And being involved with 3 generations of drivers, that era there was the best. The people then were unbelievable. You know, being involved as an owner now, and you see it's all business-like. Back then, you raced hard, you fought hard, but then you went and had a beer with the guy and enjoyed it and talked to him. Nowadays, nobody will talk to you. Nobody, after a race, after you beat him or whatever, We're proud as a family. My family, I wish they'd stand up. Donnie, Ellen, my brother Paul. We miss David. Our father and our brother, they were our heroes, and they still are. And as a representative of this family, on behalf, I want to thank all of you, congratulate all the inductees, and just thank you very much.